Okay, so it's all keyed now, sanded. I've just got to dust it down. This is the side that was damaged and repaired. I might get away with not doing anything with it and just put resin on it, but we'll see what happens. Yeah, if I put thinners on it, it melts it a little bit, so I've got to be very careful in that area. But all I'll do now is get it ready for the resin, yeah, which means cleaning it down. As you can see, with the thinners, because it's the factory finish paint, it doesn't melt it, it doesn't do anything to it, yeah. It just cleans it and it dries. Okay, and that's what you want. If it melts in any way, the paint, then it's not the factory finish and it's a cellulose based paint which the thinners will attack, which means it's not very good paint and it's not worth trying to skin on top of it, because in the end it will just come off. But if it doesn't melt or go soft in those areas, then you'll be okay. So I'm going to mist this area, yeah, to there. I can clean that bit, but I won't touch the top part, yeah, because if I do, the paint will melt. Or whatever's on there will melt, I should say, which I don't want to touch. But I will just give it a very, very light over dust and clean. I'm not doing this bit, so I don't care about it, because the fairing glass goes on that. As you can see, it's all ready now, yeah. And what I'm going to do is mix some resin up, apply it, and then leave it then for 2.5 hours. And when I come back, I'll show you if it's sticky or not, or if it's still too wet. Yeah, you want to get it just right so that it's like a glue, and then you can apply your pre-cut, slightly overlarged carbon, yeah, which that's the template for, yeah, which goes there like that. Okay, and what I'll do is I'll cut 20 to 30 millimeters past it in all directions, yeah, and then we'll wrap it, the plastic, okay, starting from the middle, and then we'll work down one side, then we'll go down the other side. Okay, so first of all, resin. Epoxy resin, yeah, which is 3:1 mix ratio. So for every 30 grams you use 10 grams of catalyst, or hardener as you call it. But I'm only using 20, so I will only use 6.6 of the catalyst, yeah, which is 2/3. Always shake your catalyst, yeah, because otherwise it settles and you don't get the correct hardener mix in your resin. Normally I'd use a smaller cup, but I haven't got any. I've got 6.7, so that's fine. There's 0.1 over, it won't hurt. Okay, and then we stir it. Nice clean stirring screwdriver. And I'll do this for about It's only a small amount, so about 30 seconds. If it's a large amount, then probably about 1.5 to 2 minutes in stirring to really mix it. Yeah, and I just use old bottles, plastic bottles, for doing this stuff, just mucking about. If I'm using the proper mixing cups, I only use them if I'm doing a proper job. But this is just to show you on my old bike how to do it. Okay. Normally I'd let that stand for a couple of minutes, and I'll get my brush, clean it, make sure it's nice and clean, let it sit for a minute because it's had thinners on it, yeah. And I've put a new piece of plastic down on the table so it's nice and clean. And then I will apply the resin to where I need it, nowhere else. If you want to, you can mask areas off, masking tape, so you don't get resin on them. It's that easy, yeah. Because I don't want to get resin on there. Otherwise I'm going to have to clean it up later. Okay, so I know this isn't going to react because I've already tested resin on it for an hour and it didn't do anything. And I know that that's a factory paint on there, which is a gloss black on top of the plastic. So I know that it's already been isolated and should not do anything. The only place I've got to worry about is the other side where the damage was, where they did the repair. Yeah. So all I'm doing is applying the resin in a nice even thin coat, covering the whole surface. If there's any hairs or anything come out or dirt, I'll remove it. I'm going to try and keep it nice and clean. And you can see the resin's going on, and it's not fish-eyeing, it's not reacting to anything, yeah? It shouldn't do. If it fish-eyes or does any kind of reaction, then don't bother. Okay? And what I might do is in half an hour, check it, come back, and maybe apply a second light coat on top of the first one after a half an hour or an hour as it starts to cure. Yeah, just to give it a nice thick layer for the carbon to sit on and bond to and adhere to. Don't forget to do the very edge, yeah, because the resin will sit on the edge, the carbon will go to the edge, but the resin will sit on and behind the edge and create what's called a locking. It'll kind of lock everything into position. But what you've got to remember is this is plastic. It will expand and contract, whereas the carbon won't. So it still could delaminate. Yeah. Only if you prime it with the isolating primer will it not peel off. because it's stuck to the plastic, and the plastic will have to stay where it is to a point. It will expand a bit more, but not so much. Now that's the area where the damage was, yeah? Okay, you can see there's no reaction, okay, so we'll leave that. Finish it off. And then come back and see what happens. Now this is for I think it's Grady Price, where he's having the problem of it not sticking to the surface of the plastic properly, and maybe he when he put the carbon on, he didn't let the resin that he'd already put on earlier cure enough, yeah, so it's reacted. So that's it, all covered now. Okay, all the edges done as well. I'll leave that, maybe come back in an hour. The resin won't have gone off in the cup, so I'll reuse it. It will be a bit more sticky, which is good, and that will help me, because it will help this. So what I'll do is we'll come back in a couple of hours, and I'm going to have to do these videos in part because I ain't got a clue how to cut, splice, join, and whatever else it is you call it. I'm like, it's a bit confusing. Okay, that's that. I'll leave this here, yeah, because also it gives me an idea of how quickly the resin is going off, yeah. Okay, that's it.